This is our longest video to date. In this video, we are going to tackle a lot of things. First, we're going to wrap up the fuse box wiring, then the complete radium engineering fuel system, which includes a fuel pump relay, an AAM 320 liter per hour pump, along with the AAM fuel pressure sensor. And then we'll even get it started on the Haltech finaling in this video. So it's been a pretty busy week for us in between doing all the stuff for the R32 GTST and the Mark IV Supra. This is where we ended up with the NSX. So as you can see, the throttle body has been rotated out. We checked the clearance here for the air to water and all that's good. This was had some weird thread tap as we took it back off, welded it shut, grinding it down. So that is good. And so unfortunately for the fuse box stuff, I only have 0 gauge and 4 gauge. These wires were, shocker, 2 gauge. So I had to order some, and so that's really set us back. But I'm pretty much set up for that. So I have these ends crimped already, cut and crimped obviously, and then the other mating end is right here, and it's the same deal here. It's already crimped, ready to go. So the only thing that I've got to do is actually get the wire, and I can crimp it and get it all set up. I still need to do one more wire, which is this one here off the fuse box, and it's associated in as well. This I could do. This is actually 2 gauge. Excuse me, this is actually 4 gauge, so I can do that, but I wanted to get the 2 gauge in so that way I could measure it all and make sure that all that is good to go. So as you can see, we've got a bunch of radium boxes here, and this is actually all for the NSX. So this is the fuel pump relay stuff here. This should be either the hanger itself. So this is the radium hanger itself for the NSX, and they also have a hose line kit. So I'm not going to go through all this, but it's basically their hose line kit for their fuel pump hanger. As you guys already know, we had the flex fuel stuff already taken care of, and the only thing that we are waiting for now to come in is the factory replacement fuel filter. So next week we'll get started on the fuel system stuff. Hopefully we'll actually have it completely buttoned up in terms of the fabrication stuff, and then we'll do the fuel system stuff, and then it'll finally start and be able to get on the dyno.
Step
Oh, God, I'm an idiot. Yep, usually works better if you hook up power. Okay. All right, so what we're doing here is I have to tap 5-volt and sensor ground, but there's only one 5-volt wire. I'm gonna repurpose this connector. This is like the leftover CAN bus connector here. And I'm gonna tap this into the ECU side of it. That way we have a couple of branches for power, 5-volt power as we need it, 5-volt power and sensor ground. We're going to omit these two wires though. These are the CAN bus wires. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna simply tap this into here, and that will be the start of it. I've already depinned it, as you can see. I've already depinned it from the ECU. That way when I go to tap it, I can add heat shrink to it and be done with it. Okay, so according to this diagram, we have a couple of AVIs left over. So we're gonna tap the pin 12. So it's pin 12 according to our diagram. B12 is AV6, and that's currently not used, and we're going to use that for the fuel pressure sensor. So that leaves us one AVI left, and that's going to be B20 down here. And I've opted to leave B20 because it's just easier to get to. I imagine whoever ends up working on this down the line, if they plan to add another sensor, just make it a little bit easier for the next guy. Hopefully that next guy won't be me, but if it ends up being it, at least I have it. This blue wire is going to be the output. Then we've got this is the input rather for the fuel pressure sensor. We've added connector here, repurposed the CAN bus connector. I'm going to go ahead and depin these wires here since we're not using them, or I just might leave them in for some other future connection there.
And so now we've got all our wiring done with extra sensor ground and 5-volt power. So again, whoever ends up working on this down the line will have an easy way to tap into it without having to fight it. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of line this all up here and then give this a snip. Boop, boop. And we are done. Well, we still got to connect everything, but this wiring side is done. Okay, so now we have the software finally downloaded. I've already calibrated TPS. So we just need to do a couple other things here. Okay, so that is working. We need to do the fuel pressure sensor. Fuel pressure. Reboot. And then we had it at we had it set at B13. So we'll go ahead and assign it there, even though it reads really low. And it is according to AEM. So fuel pressure is good now. I actually had sensor ground and 5-volt mixed up. The problem that we're going to have though is that these sensors can be damaged if you switch 5-volt and ground. So we'll see. So at the moment we're just going to let it hang out for a second and then let it drop down, and then it should go to 0. We'll start the car up, fuel pressure should rise, and then we can finally set fuel pressure. bypass. Bypass. Okay. Okay, so we got it together. Unfortunately, idle is okay. It's kind of out of control. This is collapsing. And we kind of, I hate to say it, but we kind of thought this would collapse just because of how root superchargers are. So unfortunately, we're probably gonna have to go back and make that into one solid pipe with straight couplers. So I'm gonna try to get a quick video of it started up and running. Fans aren't working, but I forgot that on these cars, the fan control is actually on a, not a switch, but it's on its own switch that the ECU doesn't control, so that's it running and idling, obviously. We haven't even set fuel pressure yet because we haven't just had it running long enough to, and you can see that it's collapsing already. Now, if you crack the throttle, it opens up. But as you can see, it's straight up collapsing, so that's no bueno there. So we're just gonna let it run for a little bit with the heat going, and hopefully it bleeds out. There's like 4 or 5 coolant bleeders. The problem is 2 of them we can't even reach. So we bled it from the front and we bled it underneath, but we still think that there's a little bit of air trapped into that backside.